Ascent Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Joy of Agility, How to Solve Problems and Succeed Sooner, by Joshua Kerievsky, narrated by Joshua Kerievsky. For Bruce, Diana, Dmitri, Sasha, Sophia, and Eva, and most of all, Maria. Preface. One of the greatest gifts of my life has been discovering how agility enables excellence. I love finding ways to make slow and awkward things faster and easier, solving difficult problems by being readily resourceful, and adapting to change with speed and grace. It's the joy of agility. In the late 1990s, I was part of a small movement that pioneered what would become agile software development. We experimented with ways to remove anything that slowed us down or made work difficult. My interactions with colleagues became smoother, collaboration with customers became closer, feedback came faster, making changes became safer, and handling unexpected events became easier. We learned how to sustainably create more value with less waste. That ultimately helped us produce happier customers sooner. Several decades spent experimenting, learning, unlearning, and reflecting on the nature of agility, including helping my own company and our clients become more agile, applying agility to home repairs, health, fitness, parenting, and more, led to this book. Joy of Agility begins by tackling the widespread confusion surrounding the definition of the word agile. It then presents 6 agile mantras that help make agility actionable. Finally, the majority of the book is an anthology of stories. These stories serve to clarify one or more agile mantras and come from many professions, including business, education, entertainment, sports, psychology, marketing, aviation, and more. Every story concludes with a call to action. I will be delighted if even one of these stories inspires you to put this book down and take action. Introduction. Taking action. One morning in 2002, more than 5 years after starting my own company, I read a book that revealed a huge mistake I was making. The book, Selling the Invisible, A Field Guide to Modern Marketing by Harry Beckwith, is a collection of insightful stories, each of which concludes with a call to action. That morning, 2 of the stories I read had such an impact on me that I immediately changed how I was marketing my company. The first story, called Fanatical Focus, explained the importance of not trying to be all things to all people. Instead of focusing on quality, price, and value, the pizza company Domino's relentlessly stressed its speed. 30 minutes or it's on us. That story concluded with the call to action. Stand for one distinctive thing that will give you a competitive advantage. The second story, called The Fear of Positioning, amplified the first story so intensely that I had to put the book down to think about how I could apply what I had just learned to my own business. It explained how most companies are afraid to stand for one thing, since that means not standing for a bunch of other important things. In this story, the author explains how Scandinavian Airlines, SAS, was struggling badly in 1980. Faced with a $20 million loss, the airline decided to reposition itself as the business traveler's airline. Despite major concerns that they would lose the business of its bread-and-butter tourist travelers, SAS forged ahead with the idea, offering a new service called Euroclass. Business travelers could now get olives and martinis, bigger seats, phones, telexes, a separate 4-minute faster check-in counter, and free drinks, newspapers, and magazines. SAS made $80 million the first year it offered Euroclass. And what about the tourist passengers, seemingly abandoned by this new position? They were happier than ever. Given all of the sales of expensive business class seats, SAS could afford to offer bargain basement prices for economy seats, which tourists snapped up. Flights were full, and standing for one thing was the secret behind SAS's success. The call to action at the end of this story was simple and direct. To broaden your appeal, narrow your position. After reading that story, I considered my own company's position. The homepage of our website offered 5 different software development services. We were most definitely not standing for one thing. At the time, Design Patterns was our cash cow, but Extreme Programming, XP, was a bigger and more important service. I decided right there and then to reposition my company as the XP company and immediately changed our website to make the new position clear. In the months and years that followed, Industrial Logic became known around the globe as the source for the world's best XP training and coaching. Revenue climbed, the company grew, and we even continued to have plenty of design patterns business. All of that happened because I'd read a couple of Harry Beckwith's brilliant stories. The stories in Joy of Agility are meant to inspire you to take action. As you read each one, ask yourself how you would apply the lesson to your context. Joy of Agility is also a springboard to other books. Throughout my career, I've learned a great deal from brilliant authors. You'll find references to their books scattered throughout the chapters that follow. Each one is an invitation to further explore aspects of agility. The Agile Birth of a Shoe Company. When Kenneth Cole founded his footwear company in 1982, the odds were stacked against him. His funds were limited, and the U.S. economy was in recession. To manufacture his shoes, he needed money, but obtaining a bank loan during a tough economic period would be difficult. To market and sell his shoes later that year, he would need footwear buyers and sellers to see his products at the New York Shoe Expo, which took place at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. However, unlike established shoe companies, he couldn't afford the expensive showcase rooms at the Hilton. Like Kenneth Cole, we all face challenges. Regardless of our profession, we struggle to find our way through tough conditions, unexpected events disrupt us, new obstacles impede our progress, and the status quo keeps pulling us back. Organizations typically struggle with too much bureaucracy, insufficient innovation, poor collaboration, serious quality problems, disempowered and unmotivated staff, and ever-increasing pressure to deal with nimble competitors. What could help us overcome such challenges? Being agile. Agility helps us solve problems with quick, easy grace. As you'll learn later in this book, it helped American Airlines rapidly respond to a travel mandate during the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. It helped Oprah Winfrey successfully defend herself from a lawsuit while continuing to air her hit show. It helped Paul O'Neill rescue a 100-year-old industrial giant. It helped my own company pivot successfully to retain our business with Google during a global recession. And it helped Paul McCrady's team invent the world's first human-powered airplane. It also helped Kenneth Cole overcome the challenges he faced when starting his shoe company. His first decision was to avoid the delays and difficulties of seeking a bank loan to fund his line of elegant women's shoes. Instead, he flew to Italy and found Italian shoemakers who needed his business and would manufacture his shoes on credit. Returning to New York with thousands of pairs of shoes, he had to find an affordable and effective way to showcase his products at the New York Shoe Expo. On a whim, he called a friend in the trucking business to see if he could park a 40-foot trailer across the street from the Hilton. His friend was happy to lend him the trailer, but said that parking it in Midtown Manhattan for several days would be impossible. Undeterred, Kenneth Cole called the mayor's office to learn about the city's parking rules. He discovered that only utility or motion picture production companies could park large vehicles on Manhattan streets for extended periods of time. That afternoon, Kenneth bought stationery and business cards with a new company name, Kenneth Cole Productions, Inc. The following morning, he filed for a permit to shoot a feature-length film called The Birth of a Shoe Company. It was quickly approved. Kenneth then decorated the trailer, hired actresses to model the shoes, and brought on a director. When the New York Shoe Expo began, hundreds of curious shoe buyers lined up to explore what was inside the trailer, while the director filmed the action. Within 2.5 days, Kenneth Cole sold 40,000 pairs of shoes. Being agile helped Kenneth Cole succeed. When he launched his shoe company, his business dealings were quick. He adapted to tough economic conditions with ease. He was resourceful in finding a unique and inexpensive way to stand out from the crowd, and he was graceful in the creative way he sold thousands of pairs of shoes. Kenneth Cole's story, and others like it in this book, is meant to help you understand what is required to be agile. Before we dive into those stories, let's first review what the word agile means. The definition of agile. Agile is an adjective that further defines a noun. For example, an agile dancer, driver, pilot, nurse, programmer, executive, manager, team, or department. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines agile as marked by ready ability to move with quick, easy grace, or having a quick, resourceful, and adaptable character. Both of these definitions are useful for understanding how to be agile in your context. Being agile involves, yet isn't exclusively about, speed. Hence the word quick in both of Merriam-Webster's definitions. Being quick does not mean hurrying, rushing, or otherwise moving so fast that you are out of control. And let me repeat, being quick does not mean being agile. It also requires ease and grace, or being adaptable and resourceful. Saying someone is quick and agile is redundant, since being agile requires being quick. And finally, we often need to slow down in order to learn how to be genuinely quick. Being agile involves ease. When you witness agility, it often looks effortless. Ease in movement or bearing often results from great skill and practice. Agility also requires grace, which in this context means ease and suppleness of movement or bearing. Suppleness associates grace with adaptability, since the word means readily adaptable or responsive to new situations. When we are graceful, we interact harmoniously with others, we move with ease, we are balanced, relaxed, and able to respond to new situations without hesitation. Putting all of that together, being agile requires movement or behavior that is at once quick, effortless, balanced, and harmonious. It isn't easy. When we are agile, we are readily resourceful, able to quickly, creatively, and skillfully handle difficulties or new situations. Being agile also involves being adaptable, capable of adjusting to new conditions or uses. Adaptability isn't synonymous with agility. If it takes you a long time to adapt to something, you aren't agile. Agility requires being quickly and easily adaptable. Putting all of that together, being agile requires being quick and clever in overcoming or adapting to new or unexpected situations. Fear stifles agility. When we are afraid of being injured, blamed, penalized, or dismissed, we become hesitant, defensive, or even paralyzed, and our ability to be quick, graceful, adaptable, and resourceful is diminished. Becoming agile requires ongoing practice. It's a journey, not something you learn quickly in a book, article, or class. No one becomes agile merely by acquiring a certification in someone else's idea of an agile process. Just as it takes dedication and practice to gain skill in a musical instrument, writing, cooking, or a sport, you will also need to study and practice agility in order to gain skill in it. Agile mantras, the subject of the next section, provide a way to deliberately practice agility. 6 Agile Mantras. A mantra is something you contemplate regularly and that continuously guides your decisions and actions. The 6 Agile Mantras in this book stand on the shoulders of giants in fields as diverse as quality management, athletic coaching, resilience engineering, psychological safety, and business leadership. These mantras exist to help individuals, groups, teams, departments, divisions, and whole organizations develop agility. The 6 Agile Mantras also form the major parts of this book. In each part, you'll find a description of the mantra along with numerous stories that further explain it. For now, let's look at brief summaries of each of the 6 mantras. Be quick, but don't hurry. Succeed sooner via quickness under control and avoid costly mistakes from hurrying or rushing. Be balanced and graceful. Resolve imbalances, collaborate harmoniously with others, and make change empowering, not forced. Be poised to adapt. Develop a readiness to revise or respond quickly and easily to change. Start minimal and evolve. Begin quickly and easily with something basic and rapidly improve it based on what you learn. Drive out fear. Make safety a prerequisite to protect people and pave the way for high performance. Be readily resourceful. Solve problems without hesitation by being quick, clever, and creative. The bulk of this book is devoted to helping you understand each of the 6 Agile mantras via stories. Each story explores the nuances of a mantra so you can more deeply understand what it means. Since all 6 of the Agile mantras are closely related, you'll often find 2 or more Agile mantras present in any given story. Before we explore each Agile mantra, I first want to share a few stories that exemplify agility and illustrate the power of simultaneously applying many Agile mantras at once. Break on through to the Agile side. The stories here are some of my favorites for explaining what it means to be Agile. Each describes a breakthrough resulting in a joyful outcome to a challenge. As you read each story, notice the decisions and behavior of the people, teams, or organizations. Then ask yourself which of the 6 Agile mantras are present. Doing this will help you get better acquainted with agility and the 6 Agile mantras before we unpack each mantra in more depth. You can still dunk in the dark. On February 3, 2013, a couple of minutes into the 3rd quarter of the Super Bowl, the Superdome in New Orleans was suddenly plunged into almost complete darkness. It was an astonishing moment during America's biggest sporting and advertising event of the year. With the entire stadium in near complete darkness, the championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers came to an abrupt halt. What happened? Was it a terrorist attack? A post-Hurricane Katrina breakdown in critical infrastructure? No one knew during the first few eerie minutes. Gradually, it became clear that a partial power outage had occurred. It took 22 minutes to restore power, and play resumed 34 minutes after it had been halted. During the blackout, a beautiful example of team agility occurred, but the team I'm talking about wasn't on the football field. It was in an office, 1,300 miles away. Soon after the stadium went dark, a 13-person group working for Oreo, America's best-selling cookie, seized the moment to compose and publish a tweet. The tweet featured a picture of an Oreo cookie and the words, "Power out? No problem. You can still dunk in the dark." The tweet went viral. Oreo's follower count on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram grew exponentially. Accolades poured in via social media and email. The following day, the advertising industry declared Oreo the winner of the Super Bowl. One media outlet announced that the best ad of the Super Bowl wasn't an ad. It was a tweet. Oreo wanted to remind everyone that it was America's favorite cookie, and its agile branding and marketing team had succeeded wildly in achieving that goal. How was this epic tweet created? You might think that a few self-organizing Oreo creatives suddenly saw an opportunity, hurried to capitalize on it, and rushed out the tweet. Yes, the Oreo advertising team saw an opportunity and acted on it, but that isn't the full story of the famous blackout tweet. The story was actually years in the making. Oreo turned 100 years old in 2012. To celebrate its birthday, the company wanted to show just how deeply ingrained the Oreo cookie was in American culture. For 100 consecutive days, Oreo posted social media content associating the cookie with anything noteworthy in the news, such as the Mars rover landing, Elvis Week, and the anniversary of the creation of the Rainbow Gay Pride flag. Called the Daily Twist, members of Oreo's brand team and a few advertising agencies collaborated daily in a room in New York City. Working closely together in one room enabled the team to respond quickly and creatively to interesting cultural events. By the time the Super Bowl took place in 2013, the Daily Twist had helped the team develop muscle memory for real-time branding and marketing. Michael Nuzzo, creative director for the advertising agency 360i, recalled, "We had these daily content calendars across social platforms, and every day we would review the content calendar. We'd been very thoughtful, planned in advance what we would do. Short of a meteor falling out of the sky, we knew." 10 people from the team were in the war room on Super Bowl Sunday, including Michael Nuzzo, Maggie Walsh, 360i's strategist, copy editors, graphic designers, and Oreo brand representatives. Lisa Mann, VP of Cookies for Kraft Foods, owner of Oreo at the time, and Sarah Hofstetter, 360i's CEO, watched the game from home and were connected to the team via their laptops and phones. The day before the Super Bowl, the team had met in the war room to test the technology and rehearse how they would perform on the big day. "We were over-prepared," said Walsh. "We had this dry run on Saturday, and we had this worksheet. So what happens if this person does this? This person does this? Who writes the copy? Who presses send?" We had all the tracking in place. Soon after the blackout began, Michael Nuzzo said to everyone in the war room, "We should probably do something." Seconds later, Sarah Hofstetter sent an email to the team with the subject, "Power? Opt to capitalize?" The team replied that they were already on it. Nuzzo threw out the line, "You can dunk in a blackout." And in under a minute, the team had the Twitter post composed. The post needed approval from Oreo, and fortunately, a high-speed approval process was already in place. Oreo's associate brand manager, Danielle Brown, also in the war room, quickly made sure that no terrorist event had occurred and that it was safe to post. Next, she emailed Lisa Mann for final approval, writing, "I really wanted to say, you can still dunk in the dark." Lisa loved it and quickly gave final approval. The post was updated and published. From start to finish, the team had taken only a few minutes to design, caption, approve, and publish their epic tweet. So, while the Oreo creative saw an opportunity, worked fast to capitalize on it, and quickly pushed out the tweet, providing the world with a marketing case study in what agility is all about, Lisa Mann would say that it really took 2 years to publish that tweet. It involved conceiving of Oreo's branding and marketing strategy to commemorate its 100th birthday, forming the Daily Twist team to produce content for 100 consecutive days, gaining skill in associating the cookie with daily newsworthy events, and ultimately growing a team that could reliably perform high-quality, real-time branding and marketing. The epic tweet didn't involve hurrying and wasn't a spontaneous act of genius. It was the result of the right mix of people, a balanced team, learning how to collaborate gracefully and make decisions rapidly in order to be poised to adapt to real-time events. Without such work, the team would not have been able to be so readily resourceful in a profoundly unexpected situation like a Super Bowl blackout. Agility requires practice and preparation. Chris Rock's Little Bets. I love seeing great comedians perform. The truly great ones make me cry with laughter and keep me laughing throughout their set with their insights, timing, intonation, expressions, and body language. Have you ever wondered how such performances become so funny? In his book, Little Bets, How Breakthrough Ideas Emerge from Small Discoveries, Peter Sims reveals what star comedians like Chris Rock do to create comedy gold. Sims calls it a rigorous experimental discovery process. Chris Rock routinely shows up unannounced at a comedy club in New Brunswick, New Jersey, about an hour's drive from his home. The audience of 50 or so people is thrilled to have this star comedian perform for them. But after Chris Rock takes the stage, the audience soon discovers that Rock isn't his normal, funny, animated self. Sims explains that when Chris Rock tests out new material, he doesn't launch into his familiar performance mode that fans describe as the full preacher effect, when he uses animated body language, pitchy and sassy vocal intonations, and erupting facial expressions. Instead, Rock sits calmly on a bar stool with a legal pad, filled with ideas, and casually tests out each idea while observing his audience intently, noticing heads nodding, shifting body language, or attentive pauses, all clues to where good ideas might reside. Developing a great new comedy set requires operating under what Eric Ries, author of The Lean Startup, calls conditions of uncertainty. To learn what is or isn't funny, Chris Rock starts in the safety of a small, intimate venue where he can protect his brand and experiment without fear. To discover and develop the few gems that will make audiences erupt with laughter, he takes little bets, quickly testing hundreds of raw or uneven pieces of content. Eventually, he experiments in slightly larger venues with bigger audiences. Night after night, for weeks or months, he removes uncertainty, always being poised to adapt his comedy set until it is consistently funny and ready for the biggest stages. Under conditions of uncertainty, take little bets. Apply a rigorous experimental discovery process. Let there be water balloons. A few days before she turned 7, my daughter Eva asked if she could have a water balloon fight during her birthday party. Sure, I immediately replied, but the thought of making more than a few water balloons filled me with dread. I knew this meant hours of awkward fiddling. First, pick out an empty balloon, fill it with water, hope it didn't pop prematurely, and then use my not-so-nimble fingers to tie the slippery, wet end into a tiny knot. Over and over again. Josh Malone, a father of 8 kids, understood the pain of producing water balloons in large numbers. During hot summers in Texas, his family loved to have water balloon fights, but disliked the slow, hard work of making many water balloons. This problem inspired Malone to invent a brilliant, award-winning product called bunch-o-balloons to make the process quick, easy, and graceful. While I was out buying supplies for Eva's party, I was intrigued when I saw a bunch of balloons at a local store. The words on the package read, "Fill and tie 100 water balloons in 60 seconds with our sensational self-tying water balloons. Say goodbye to the stress and mess of filling individual water balloons, and say hello to never-ending splash-out-loud fun." I was sold. I bought a bunch of balloons for Eva's party, and I looked forward to learning if the product could live up to its promise. On the day of the event, I attached the stem feeding the first set of water balloons to an outdoor faucet and turned on the water. In just seconds, I made more than 30 water balloons. As I pulled each perfect yellow balloon from its attached rod, a self-tying rubber O-ring contracted into place, sealing the water inside each balloon. It was so quick and easy. I performed the same procedure for the red and blue balloons in the package, and in no time had filled an entire bucket with 100 water balloons. Just like the advertisement said, there was no stress or mess. Eva was thrilled. I was thrilled. And during the party, the kids were thrilled as they engaged in a fun water balloon fight. Bunch-o-balloons made me an excellent dad, made Eva an excellent party host, and helped her friends have a wonderful time. Of course, making water balloons in large quantities is a relatively trivial thing. Bunch-o-balloons hasn't exactly changed the world with its product. Yet, this innovative product can serve as an inspiration to anyone in any organization. What activities are you or your customers forced to perform today that are slow, hard, and ungraceful? What product or service could you invent that would give you or your customers the superpowers to make those same activities quick, easy, and graceful? Help people be agile by removing the stress and mess of slow, hard, ungraceful experiences. Banking on joy. One morning at Westpac Bank in Wellington, New Zealand, a team of software developers paid a visit to the tellers who worked in their local bank branch. This was the developer's
Sample complete. Ready to continue?